Did you know that it is illegal to wear a mask in public in Nashville, Davidson County, Tennessee, pursuant to Metropolitan Davidson County Code Section 11.12.040? Stick around for 20 seconds and I'll explain. Hi there, I'm your third grandfather, Philip Kirk in Nashville. Decades ago, I bought a 2-volume set of the Metropolitan Code of Davidson County, Tennessee, which contained all the local laws governing the citizens of Nashville. I read those 2 volumes cover to cover, and one of the unusual laws I came across was that it was illegal to wear a mask in public in Nashville. I've always remembered that. In this particular statute, a mask is defined as any mask, device, or hood whereby any portion of the face is so hidden or covered as to conceal the identity of the wearer. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can also read it yourself. It's too small for you to read on by my holding it here, and it's only about a half a page, but you'll be able to read it after I put it up. And you can also find it by Googling the words Metropolitan Nashville Davidson County Code Section 11.12.040. It also goes on to define what a public place is and states clearly that no person while masked shall be or appear on or in any public place in the metropolitan government area. There are exceptions or exemptions. 1. Children under the age of 17. 2. Workers engaged in work where a covering is necessary for physical safety and protection. 3. Persons while wearing a traditional holiday costumes, which I assume means Halloween type situations. 4. Persons while engaged in theatrical productions or masquerade balls. Or last, 5. Persons wearing gas masks in civil defense drills, exercises, or emergencies. As you can clearly see, none of those exceptions fit our current situation. Yet we have been told to wear a mask in public by our own Mayor Cooper and have been told that is for our own safety. The purpose of this video is not to tell you to or not to wear a mask. The law provides for that, and I can't add anything or take anything away from that. But what I do want to point out is that the government's position in response to any perceived crisis is always one of control and detention. Not only have we been told to wear a mask, we have also been told to confine ourselves in our homes, healthy people included. Now again, while I am not attempting to tell you to or not to wear a mask, I am disappointed in our older teens and our citizens in their 20s and 30s for falling for this charade brought upon us by members of my generation and a generation a little younger than me, when most of you guys are usually smart enough and have no problem telling us old farts to hit the road. For some reason, you have fallen in line like obedient sheep and have been wearing masks when our own Metropolitan Health Department statistics show that if you are 40 years old or younger, you have a 0% chance of dying from this illness. That is not to say you might not catch the sniffles, but I don't think anybody should be wearing a mask constantly in public to prevent getting a case of the sniffles. About a week ago, I made a video showing that the citizens of Nashville have been living through what is nothing more than a perceived crisis, in that the data from the mayor's own health department reflects that there is no crisis occurring. In that video, I explained that through May 28, 2020, this year, only 58 persons had died from the C-19 illness, and that data at the time showed you had a 99.99912% chance of never dying from this illness. Pretty good odds. And let me say, each death is a tragedy. I'm not minimizing any death whatsoever. Those are better odds than dying in a motor vehicle accident. In the state of Tennessee overall, during the same period of time, you had an even less chance of dying. You had a 99.99947% chance of never dying from this illness. Now, Whenever you talk about statistics related to this perceived crisis, you should always be reminded that the data that you have been told is highly flawed. Yet the media has chosen not to reveal that fact to you. It doesn't fit their agenda. In my video entitled Letter to Our Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, I explained why. There are public and private interests which have deemed it in their best interest for you to believe that a pandemic is occurring and your chance of death is imminent from this C-19 illness, and that you should alter your way of life in a dramatic fashion. This is why you have seen so many of these number of cases statistics in order to boost the perception that we are in an emergency situation. Keep in mind, there are only 4 groups of people involved when you speak of the C-19 illness. 1, those who never get infected. 2, those who got infected but show no symptoms whatsoever. 3, those who got infected and show some symptoms, some mild, some severe. And number 4, those who sadly died from the illness. As you can see, all these so-called cases numbers also include 2 of the 4 categories: those infected without symptoms and those infected with symptoms. In other words, if you got the sniffles, you were listed as a case. So what has happened is that the government has told you that you should wear a mask and that you should shut your business down, alter your lifestyle, don't go to church, don't go to school, don't celebrate a traditional Mother's Day, do not have a prom, do not have a graduation ceremony, along with dozens of other restrictions because a lot of people got the sniffles. Oh, I almost forgot. Our mayor has canceled our annual July 4th celebration, which is a celebration of our freedom and liberty. How ironic can that be at this time? Your life in Nashville for the last several months has been turned upside down because a lot of people had the sniffles. A lot of people will be bankrupted by these restrictions. And I pointed out in the video titled We've Been Had that in 2019, 107 people died from motor vehicle fatalities. Why didn't the mayor shut our streets, roads, and highways down and stop us from driving in order to save those lives? Of course, it could be argued that there would be many more deaths had we not worn masks and stayed in our homes. If that be the case, why were there 58 deaths? And if that were the case, why were all the deaths in Nashville of people 41 years old and older if everyone wore masks and stayed at home? And if that be the case, why did no one under 40 years old die from this illness? I'll tell you why. Again, in a previous video, I theorized that the answer is that these persons had underlying health conditions for which they were most probably taking medications which severely wrecked their immune system and prevented them from being able to withstand the assault of an opportunistic infection which came along. And this is borne out by the very statistic from our mayor's own health department. Remember, while the Nashville Health Department did not know whether 16 of the 58 had underlying health conditions, it was unable to rule it out. And in Nashville, we just experienced a wave of rioting. How convenient was it that most, if not all, of the rioters were wearing masks that prevented you from identifying them? One of the main purposes of the Metropolitan Statute against wearing masks is so that your identity cannot be hidden while you are committing a crime. How convenient was that? Why do you think most of the bank lobbies are shut down? And the few that are still open now have guards. Thus, the law of unintended consequences has reared its head. Yet everybody is being silent about this. Now I realize, and I really do, I'm being serious about this, I realize it's easy to sit back and criticize. That's not what I'm intending to do. Keep in mind, it's been a lot of time since this began. What I am trying to point out is that the government's role in a real health emergency should be to alert the citizens with the information that it has and caution the citizens to take care and exercise personal responsibility for their own safety in order to prevent an injury to themselves should they fit in the category of those likely to be affected. In other words, the elderly with underlying health conditions taking immune-suppressing medications. The fallout from this horrendous mistake is going to be suffered by Nashville for many more months and probably years to come. I'm going to leave you with this one final statistic. The Center for Disease Control states that flu and pneumonia were only the 8th leading cause of death in Tennessee in the year 2017, with a total of 1,656 deaths. Now, they did combine flu and pneumonia. So let's take what's an admittedly unscientific approach and cut that number in half, which leaves us with about 825 flu deaths. As of May 28, 2020, this year, the number of flu deaths in the whole state of Tennessee was only 356. That is a number that is less than half of the 2017 deaths from the flu. I don't recall anyone losing their job or their business going bankrupt due to the flu in 2017. Always remember, the government is a business in and of itself, and those in that business seek to expand that business. And the only way they can expand that business and create more revenue for themselves is to enact more laws and programs in order to increase the budget, which, of course, increases the tax that has to be paid by the citizens. The city of Nashville had a booming economy with construction cranes flying in the air everywhere and 50 to 150 new people coming into this city nearly every day. And yet, we have gone broke. Yeah, we're broke. The same mayor who has told you that you need to stay at home and not make any purchases, which will result in sales tax, is pushing a 32% property tax increase in order to pay for his, the Metro Council, and previous administration's fiscal irresponsibility. The burden of which, of course, like always, will fall upon the heads of the responsible non-government citizens. Once again, I call on the mayor to immediately cease this horrendously mistaken lockdown, wearing masks, and the so-called phased, slow reopening of our society, which is now on again and off again, and let's get back to business as usual while exercising our personal responsibility. Thank you.